Hey guys, happy Sunday. I thought it was about time to show my face on here after close to a year. My voice is messed up because I'm getting over 3 weeks of sickness, different ones back to back, because I'm quite run down, so I apologize. Quite a few new followers, so I was thinking about doing a new post this week, just kind of a reintroduction. So welcome to everyone who's new. I'm hoping that you find some value here in the content that I post that can help you in some way, whether that's through educating, relating to my personal experiences in the way that things like ADHD and autism can present in adulthood, especially if you don't know that you have it, because we know now there's a lot of new information that even as early as the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of girls and boys, especially with lower support needs, did go missed in the diagnostic process, kind of flew under the radar, struggled in school, but really not a clear explanation on what the struggles were. And I find a lot of people get into adulthood, they build a whole adult life, they do, what society expects, what we think we're supposed to do as adults, and then wonder what is going on when all of a sudden we're dropping all the balls. Our capacity has been exceeded before we even realize what's happening. I started to experience some changes in myself. I flew under the radar in school. I did really, really well in reading and writing, things I was really interested in, like biology, but then when it came to math, physics, chemistry, I mean numbers, I was failing. There was such a huge skill gap. I had a lot of other problems that I didn't even know I had until I went back looking at my report cards after I hit burnout. What was causing all of my struggles as early as when I went to college, and I'm in my mid-30s now with children and a husband. For about a decade, I had come to the acceptance that I had an untreatable anxiety, some setbacks, that one main thing I love that was like kind of just for me, because I have very restricted interests. I don't really have any hobbies other than it used to be the gym and cooking, and those are the two things I like. The cooking thing, I don't enjoy it right now. I've cooked my whole life. I watched cooking shows when I was like 6. So, I mean, this is just temporary, but this burnout thing is very real. I'm so relieved that I had people here who I can relate to, because I thought all of these things were just a me thing. And as soon as I started to relate to not just a few people, but probably hundreds over the last year, I really feel like I have kind of found my people, because everyone just seems to get it without me explaining. And when I explain, people don't look at me sideways like, what? I don't know what that is like. So yeah, and I just didn't realize. And I had tried therapy, but I did not know I had ADHD and was autistic, and the therapy sessions often kind of got derailed by my lack of eye contact, by my interrupting, by my not being able to articulate verbally what I want to say when someone is sitting in front of me. It's a lot easier for me to talk to a camera or type on a computer, to write a letter, anything where I can really just not focus on the interaction part of talking, and I can just focus on my thoughts. So I am planning to try to now be neurodivergent, like affirming therapist who understands that the techniques I've tried from therapies before almost made it made my burnout worse, because it was about adding more to my plate, getting out of the house more. But what I needed was that really deep rest. I needed to do more of what brought that like recharge and less of what was draining, and the things I was needing to do for therapy just added to the drain, and it just wasn't the time. But now I feel that I have a direction to go in, and I am grateful for the people who create content. So I'd like to be able to do the same, and maybe just help someone else realize, oh, that's very relatable. Maybe this is something I should explore, and it's really life-changing. It's really good, so that if there's anyone else like me who has really been searching for 15 years in their adulthood or more, it's never too late to find out, like, how your brain works or how it's different, because if anything, it's been nothing but validating that everything I thought was my fault, that I was, somehow not meeting up to the standard of, like, why can't I do what everyone else is doing? And I just thought I was lazy. I thought I was unmotivated, and I just needed more discipline and more consistency. And having the answer and a name for it, it is more of a relief than anything. People usually worry about labels, but no, it will now allow me to name what I'm experiencing and access supports if I need them, when I need them, and I will need them. ADHD and autism both, it often gets missed because the ADHD does highly compensate and kind of takes over and covers up some of the autistic traits, because I would be so anxious socially, so awkward, that I would just impulsively ramble a million miles a minute about everything and anything and not realize it until probably like that night or like the next day or days later what I had done, and then would ruminate on that and not really even knowing when approaching someone to speak to them how to confidently just walk up to somebody and start talking. Like, I just kind of hover around the outskirts if they're talking to someone else. Like, when do I, get their attention? And if it gets too awkward, I just walk away because I'm like, this is just getting awkward. And I just never questioned any of this until I had an adult life and children. The demands of a very fast-paced life routine with very little recharge time, less alone time, less space for my interests. For me, that's the gym. I haven't been there in a year and a half since the worst part of my burnout has been about the last year to year and a half. So that was one of the first things I was able to take off my metaphorical plate so that I could manage everything else I had to do. But in hindsight, that was a horrible idea because I have now felt the impact of removing that, it just wasn't working. And I'm so grateful, thank God, that answers have been provided, and I just hope that I can bring a little bit of hope or a little bit of light to the situation for someone else too. Like, I've always just kind of adapted myself without realizing why. I just knew that I felt like I was always just grumpy about something, or easily irritated or oversensitive, finding rejection where there isn't any, just not really knowing when to add to a conversation. We have overcompensated socially. I do avoid social interactions when I don't have the capacity. So anyways, that's a little bit of my story. There's a lot more to it. Feel free to message with any suggestions or topics you are interested in, that you want more information about, that I can help you to understand, just based on what I've experienced. I know my experience isn't going to resonate with everybody's experience. Even if someone has the same diagnosis, it does not mean they're going to have that same lived experience. But I do know having examples of the way traits present into your day-to-day life looks vastly different than what it looks like on the screenings. And that is really what is eye-opening, is when you start to apply it to your real life. And so yeah, that's it for now, and I will see you guys again soon.